Streaking for isolation. That might sound very complex, but I assure you it is relatively simple. This simple test allows labs and pathologists to help diagnose someone in need. For example, wound tissues might need to be swabbed and used to help diagnose what infections they might be brewing. In microbiology, you can streak for isolation or quantitation. Streaking for quantitation is solely used with urine, but that's another road to go down. Streaking for isolation is the most common method used for almost all cultures and patient specimens, mainly consisting of viral and bacterial infections. Don't worry, by the end of my speech, you'll all be educated on how to streak for isolation. I will continue to talk about the background knowledge you need to streak for isolation, what materials you'll need, and how it benefits society. The purpose for streaking for isolation is to produce isolated colonies for an organism on an Auger plate. According to austincc.edu, it is very useful when you need to separate organisms on a mixed culture, which is where more than one bacteria grows on an Auger plate, or when you need to study the colony morphology of an organism. Colony morphology is a characteristics of a bacteria. So is it large in size, white in color, does it smell, etc. There are varieties of Auger plates. Essentially, an Auger plate is where the bacteria can grow efficiently. Today, I will talking to you guys about sheep auger, the sheep blood auger, chocolate auger, and McConkey auger. It tells us if there's any growth on the McConkey auger, it will tell us that there's a gram negative species present. And if you are interested in microbiology, that is essential for you to understand. But for just right now, I'll be showing you guys how to streak for isolation with specifically a sheep blood auger. And if you need a streak for isolation, you have to use this technique for any auger you use. The materials you need are a Sharpie or a permanent marker, your auger plate, a specimen source, a swab, an incinerator, and an inoculated loop. First, you will label your specimen, your auger plate. You will label it by dating the time and date setup, patient's name, patient's medical record number, specimen source, and the first initial and full last name of the person setting up this plate. Next, you're ready to start streaking. There are 3 quadrants of the plate. There's the primary quadrant, the secondary, and then the tertiary quadrants. You will start by opening your swab bottom first, so you're not contaminating the swab. Dip your swab into a specimen source, and then you'll streak back and forth down about 1/3 of the primary quadrant. And then, using your inoculated loop, you will first flame your inoculated loop in your incinerator, making sure it's sterile. And then, according to microbiologics.com, you need to sterilize your inoculated loop between each quadrant, and you'll do so with the rest while doing the third and second quadrant. So then, doing your second quadrant, you will go diagonal, making sure that you do not go into the previous quadrant more than 3 times. And then you will do the same for your third. And now you are done. And then you'll put your auger plate into the right incubation method. And don't forget to throw all materials away with specimen source and the biohazard, unless it can be sterilized like your inoculated loop. So streaking for isolation has benefits to society because this specific technique allows for microbiologists to allow for the study of one specimen without the worry of contamination of others. It is very important for microbiologists to get specific and right diagnosis for these patients. It plays a huge role in combating disease, in analyzing microorganisms up close, and helping keeping the planet healthy. Because of these streaking techniques, it will not only help with diagnosis, but aid in the discovery of antibiotics and vaccines. This identification method can go a long way. It solely focuses on catching one microorganism to help rehabilitate a patient. So now that I taught you how to streak for isolation, I hope you'll all be mindful of the different infections going around this winter season. Maybe you might even go into this profession of a microbiologist. I went over the background knowledge you need, the materials you need, and then lastly, the benefits it has to the world. And don't forget to wash your hands. Thank you.